Section 3.6, Solving Multi-Step Inequalities. Here are the rules for solving multi-step inequalities. Number 1. Solve using the same steps as multi-step equations. First you distribute, then you combine like terms. Then you undo the addition or subtraction, and finally undo multiplication or division. Remember, when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must flip the inequality or the sign. Here are some examples. Solve and graph them. Letter A. X divided by negative 4 minus 6 is greater than or equal to negative 5. There is no distribution to do, and you don't need to combine like terms. So the first thing you need to do is get rid of the minus 6 by using the inverse operation of adding 6 to both sides. This will cancel out the minus 6 and leave you with x divided by negative 4 is greater than or equal to, then you have a negative 5 and a positive 6. They're different signs, so you subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1, and 6 is a larger number, so it stays positive. So we're at x divided by negative 4 is greater than or equal to 1. Now it's time to get rid of the minus 4, or negative 4, that is being divided by x. So we are going to multiply by a negative 4. Because we are multiplying by a negative, that means our sign needs to flip, so that it will be less than or equal to. The negative 4's will cancel out and leave us with just x. Then positive 1 times a negative 4 is a negative 4. Your answer is x is less than or equal to negative 4. Then to graph it, you draw your number line, mark your 0 and your negative 4. You draw your circle at the negative 4. Because it can be equal to it, it will be a closed circle, and less than goes to the left. Your answer is a closed circle at negative 4 with an arrow going to the left. Letter B, negative 2n plus 45 plus 9n is less than 66. There is no distribution to do, but you can combine like terms because there is a negative 2n and a positive 9n. They're different signs, so you subtract. 9 minus 2 is 7n, and you stay positive because the 9 is the bigger number and it's positive. Then bring down the plus 45, the less than sign, and the 66. Now it's time to undo the addition. To undo plus 45, you need to subtract 45 from both sides. This cancels out the plus 45 and leaves 7n. Bring down the less than sign. You have 66, which is positive. Subtracting 45, they're different signs, so you subtract. 66 minus 45 is 21. 66 is the bigger number, so it stays positive. Now it's time to get rid of the 7. You're multiplying right now, so you need to divide by 7. That cancels out the 7 and leaves n is less than, and then 21 divided by 7 is 3. Your answer is n is divided less than 3. Now you draw your number line, you put the 0 on and the 3 on. It is just less than, so it's going to be an open circle, and less than goes to the left, so you draw the arrow to the left. Your answer is an open circle at 3 with an arrow to the left. C. Negative 4 times the quantity of x plus 2 plus 7 is greater than negative 21. First, you do need to distribute because there are parentheses. So if you did circle, square, you're going to share the negative 4, so that will go into the circles. Then you bring down your x and your positive 2. A negative times a positive is a negative, and 4 times x is 4x. Negative times a positive is negative, and 4 times 2 is 8. Then bring down your plus 7, your greater than sign, and the negative 21. Now it's time to combine like terms. You have two constants, a negative 8 and a positive 7 that can be combined. They're different signs, so you'll subtract. 8 minus 7 is 1, and the 8 was a bigger number, so we keep it a negative. Bring down the negative 4x, the greater than, and negative 21. Now it's time to undo the minus 1 by adding 1 to both sides. That cancels out the minus 1 and leaves negative 4x is greater than. Then you have a negative 21 and a positive 1. They're different signs, so you subtract. 21 minus 1 is 20, and you keep the sign of the larger number, which was negative. Now you need to divide by the negative 4 to get rid of multiplying negative 4. Because you're going to be dividing by a negative, the sign is going to switch, so it will now be less than. You'll cancel out the negative 4 and leave you with just x. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. Your answer is x is less than 5. Now you draw your number line, put 0 on it, put 5 on it. Because it's not equal to, it's just going to be an open circle, and less than goes to the left. So your answer is an open circle at 5 with an arrow going to the left. Now give these a try. Solve and graph them. Negative 6n plus 4 is less than negative 20. There's no distribution to do, and you don't need to combine like terms. So the first step is to get rid of the plus 4 by subtracting 4 from both sides. That cancels out the plus 4 and leaves negative 6n is less than. Then you have a negative 20 and a negative 4. They're same signs, so add and keep. 20 plus 4 is 24, and keep the negative sign. Now it's time to get rid of the negative 6 by dividing by negative 6. Since you're dividing by a negative, the sign is going to flip. That cancels out negative 6 and leaves you with just n. Then you have a negative divided by a negative, which is a positive, and 24 divided by 6 is 4. The answer is n is greater than 4. Draw the number line. We have a 0 and a 4. Draw your circle at the 4. Because it's not equal to it, it is only greater than, it's going to stay an open circle, and the arrow is going to go to the right. The answer is an open circle at 4 with the arrow to the right. Number 2, 3 times the quantity of 2w plus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 21. You do need to distribute because you will be sharing the 3. So if you do circle, square, you're going to share the 3 in the circles. Bring down the 2w and the positive 5. A positive 3 times a positive 2w is 6w. A positive 3 times a positive 5 is a positive 15. The sign is greater than or equal to, and the answer negative 21. Now it's time to undo the plus 15 by subtracting 15 from both sides. That cancels out the plus 15 and leaves 6w is greater than or equal to. You have a negative 21 and a negative 15. They're same signs, so you add and keep. 21 plus 15 is 36, and keep the negative sign. Now it's time to get rid of the 6 by dividing by 6 on both sides. That cancels out the 6 and leaves you with w is greater than or equal to. You have a negative divided by a positive. It's a negative, and 36 divided by 6 is 6. The answer is w is greater than or equal to negative 6. The sign did not flip because we did not divide by a negative. Now on the number line, you have your 0 and the negative 6. Draw the circle at the negative 6. Because it can be equal to it, the circle will be filled in. It will be a closed circle, and greater than goes to the right. The answer is a closed circle at negative 6 with an arrow to the right. Number 3, 2 times the quantity of negative 3n minus 8 plus 4n is greater than negative 20. First you need to distribute because you'll be sharing the 2. If you do circle, square, the 2 will go into the circles, negative 3n into a square, and negative 8 into a square. You have a positive times a negative, so it'll be a negative, and 2 times 3n is 6n. A positive times a negative again is a negative, and 2 times 8 is 16. Bring down the rest. Plus 4n is greater than negative 20. Now you can combine like terms. You have a negative 6n and a positive 4n. They're different signs, so you subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2n, and 6 was bigger, so you keep the negative sign. Make sure to bring down the negative 16, the greater than sign, and the negative 20. Now you undo the minus 16 by adding 16. That cancels out the minus 16 and leaves you with negative 2n is greater than. Then you have a negative 20 and a positive 16. They're different signs, so you subtract. 20 minus 16 is 4, and 20 is the bigger number, so you keep the negative sign. Now you need to get rid of the negative 2. So by dividing by a negative 2 on both sides. Since you're dividing by a negative, the sign is going to flip to less than. You will cancel out the negative 2, leave you with just n. Then you have a negative divided by a negative, which is a positive, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. The answer is n is less than 2. Draw the number line, draw the 0 and the 2. Draw your circle at the 2. It is not equal to, it is only less than, so it stays an open circle, and the arrow goes to the left. The answer is an open circle at 2 with the arrow to the left.